broadcast week. I am Dan O'Donnell, and we will be covering the single biggest story in the state from every angle. That's right, Kim Kardashian in Milwaukee for the SZA concert on Saturday night. We have team coverage, reporters in the field. I can't tell you how many times over the last 2 days I have seen the same picture of Kim K walking with, was that her sister? I don't even know. But folks, it'll be okay. Kim Kardashian has left the state. We will all be fine. We'll get through this together. If you would like to join us into this most recent foray into broadcast excellence, or at the very least, and far more likely, broadcast competence, give us a call. Shoot us a text. The AdventNews.com talk and text line is always open. 414-799-1130. Reach us toll free. 1-800-838-9476. Email me dod@iheartmedia.com. We are streaming live via the Dan O'Cam, and you can see us at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, or you can watch the show on YouTube. Just search for YouTube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. Dan O'Donnell Show will get you there. I'm not exactly sure why we don't have our own vanity URL on YouTube, but that is coming. Saturday had to be about one of the biggest nights I can remember, for entertainment in a long time. And of course, all of it was interrupted by the storm. SZA was pulled off stage at Summerfest before the concert resumed. Dave Matthews was actually postponed. You had Ludacris apparently playing, 3 songs? He played 1 song, producer Dave says. Were you there? He knows people who were. He played 1 song, decided he had enough, and left. Franklin's Fire Festival, a.k.a. Tacos and Tequila, at Franklin Field over at the Rock Sports Complex, a frequent topic of conversation here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. This thing just cannot catch a break. Last year, they ran out of both tacos and tequila. This year, Ludacris couldn't even perform. Next year, what do you think's going to happen? They're going to offer luxury cabanas and the whole thing's just going to fall apart? Biggest bit of fear-mongering I think I've seen in a long time was a hysterical front-page story in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel about the dangers of the RNC coming to town. I honestly was laughing my way through this piece. They interviewed just people from the community, just random people who are terrified that, Doug Burgum's going to be here? They're terrified of Burgum's eyebrows. I'm honestly terrified, read the initial headline in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. They sent a couple of reporters to interview just random people, people from Milwaukee who are sharing their honest thoughts. Oh, no, wait, they're all far-left activists who are saying far-left activist things. Amid the social media noise following former President Donald Trump's guilty verdict in his hush money case last month, Angela Lang, a lifelong resident of Milwaukee, couldn't help but worry what this development would mean for the upcoming Republican National Convention descending on her city. Now, Angela Lang is just a lifelong Milwaukee resident, right? She's not. She's the executive director of Black Leaders Organizing for Communities, or BLOC, which is one of the groups that's planning to march on the RNC to protest it. So do you think she is just a totally unbiased, random Milwaukeean? No, she obviously has a political axe to grind, but in the very first paragraph of this piece, she's not acknowledged as such. She's not identified as such. Dan O'Donnell has lived in Milwaukee for his entire life. He's terrified by what Democrat leadership since 1908 has done to his community. Would that ever, every single time I have identified in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, it is not talk radio host, it is not radio host, it is not local raconteur Dan O'Donnell, it is always conservative talk show host Dan O'Donnell. Even when I break a story that has nothing to do with politics, I guess one of the bigger ones that we broke over the past couple of years would be that Tom Barrett was leaving his mayorship to become the ambassador to Luxembourg. We had that story well before the rest of the media, well before it was officially announced. We were the one that broke the story. The Journal-Sentinel had to begrudgingly give me credit for it, and they wrote, conservative talk show host Dan O'Donnell. Not investigative reporter, not random idiot with a Twitter account, Dan O'Donnell. Nope, conservative talk show host. I am always Mark Belling, Jay Weber, Vicky McKenna. We are always identified by our political ideology or affiliation. Not so with Angela Lang. In less than a month, Trump is scheduled for sentencing in New York. The piece continues. Just 4 days later, he is expected to arrive in Milwaukee along with 50,000 other visitors to accept the Republican Party's presidential nomination. Depending on his sentence, Lang worries it could turn the event, quote, into a powder keg. Lang, who serves as the executive director of Black Leaders Organizing for Communities, better known as BLOC, fears the sentencing could embolden a small portion of RNC attendees who are more radicalized against communities of color, especially in Milwaukee, which Trump called a horrible city at a meeting on Capitol Hill last week. With the RNC less than a month away, she's among many Milwaukee area residents who expressed a mixture of feelings about the event. Some are looking forward to an expected rush of business, especially those within the RNC footprint. But others, and particularly those who are Black, Latino, and LGBTQ+, said they're apprehensive about the crowds the event might draw. You see what's going on here, and you see why the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel was pushing this idea that Trump called Milwaukee a horrible city without providing the relevant context of crime and election issues related to Trump's election effort in 2020. It's specifically so they can get this sort of narrative. Now, Angela Lang, of course, obviously despises Trump, despises the RNC. Do you think she has a legitimate reason to be scared that there's a small minority of RNC attendees, the delegates she's talking about, the party leaders? This would be what's she worried about? Reince Priebus setting fire to the couture? Like, honest to goodness. Are they really scared? Tim Scott is going to roll in on top of a tank down the streets of Milwaukee? Like, how exactly? Like, with the Michael Dukakis helmet on him? My goodness, they're going to overturn the hop. You're going to see Marco Rubio pushing. Yeah, it's a fiery, peaceful protest. It's going to be Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance rocking the hop over. Then you see Ted Cruz rip his shirt off, jump on the flaming debris of the hop. My goodness, these people are, I mean, I'm telling you, folks, this is absolutely hilarious stuff. Because everybody knows where the real risk of violence is coming from. The Secret Service and the RNC just came to what I would consider to be a good solution to the protest zone. It's no longer going to be at Paramarquette Park. You could tell it's a good solution because the organizers of the Marching on the RNC group are screaming that there's no chance we could even see. Nobody will be able to see us. Nobody will be able to hear us. We won't be able to physically assault anybody or throw empty beer cans at them. And they were super ticked off. So you could tell that this was a good place for the protest zone to be. Who is worried about rabid right-wingers? It is the most concocted, nonsensical narrative I think I've heard over the past 3 years. This, of course, all stems from January 6th. Following an entire summer of left-wing riots that were, of course, infamously called in Kenosha fiery but mostly peaceful protests, as you've got the burning remains of a Kenosha car repair store in the background, the reporter hysterically saying, well, this is is just a small minority of the protesters who are out here in support of Jacob Blake that decided to burn down much of downtown. It's mostly peaceful. We were told that actual riots are good. That, you know what, this is what was the MLK quote, a riot is the language of the unheard. This is what we were talking, because some random dude in Minnesota was killed with enough fentanyl in his system to down an elephant, that this was an excuse for left-wingers to riot. Do you remember the election of 2020, a couple of days beforehand, because we were remarking on this right here on this very radio show? Fencing was going up. Bars were going up. Boards were going up on windows of businesses across Democrat-controlled cities. Were they worried about what would happen if Donald Trump would lose? Of course not. They were worried about what would happen if Donald Trump would win. How do we know there would be riots? Because there were riots the first time Donald Trump won. People took to the streets when it became apparent that he had won. And, of course, the infamous burning of the SUV, smashing of windows all throughout Washington, D.C. when Trump was inaugurated. One of the most famous and hilarious videos to come out of that. Do you remember the woman who was screaming, "No!" at the moment that Trump was sworn in? She paused for a second to make sure the cameras were still on her. Okay, they are. Then she resumed going, "No!" Everyone knows who the crazies are in this country, and it certainly isn't the right-wingers. What are we worried about with the alt-right crazy neo-Nazi groups? Do you know what we get? A group of about 24 of them who march in formation with masks, looking like a bunch of little Nancy's on State Street in Madison. Did they do any violence? But no. They marched around. I'm still not convinced half of them aren't federal agents with the way the FBI has been able to infiltrate these groups and, in fact, direct their activities. Take a look at the kidnapping case against several of these goons. In the case of Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, that plot was entirely hatched and entirely carried out by federal agents who got a couple of mentally slow dudes to follow them. I'm not saying that there aren't neo-Nazi groups in the United States. I'm telling you that their number is vanishingly small. Whenever there's a concern about violence in the streets, just look at what this country has seen over the past. You don't even have to look back to the pro-Hamas glamping encampments. You need only to look at Los Angeles this past weekend. People going to a synagogue were attacked in the street. A woman was viciously beaten because she was a Zionist, aka a Jewish person. Now, how many of the pro-Hamas crowd are big Donald Trump fans? How many of those are part of these right-wing paramilitary groups? None. All of the issues with violence are coming from the left. Now, of course, they're never criminally charged because they have the good fortune of acting out in left-wing cities where the prosecutors and city leaders agree with their cause and never, ever, ever bring charges against their own. Just look at what happened at Columbia. They took over a building and held a janitor hostage while they demanded that pizza be delivered to them and were fretting about the fact that they didn't have access to water when they most certainly could just go to a water fountain in any corner of the building. They were terrified that they were running out of bottled water. Not a single one of them was charged by the same Manhattan District Attorney's Office under Alvin Bragg that brought the unprecedented case against Donald Trump that we're now so terrified by. The piece goes on, and we will bring that to you in just 1 second here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. It's coming right back.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
Coming back to Las Vegas. September 20th and 21st. Streaming live only on Hulu.
Don't miss.
Big Sean, Camila Cabello, Doja Cat, Gwen Stefani, Hozier, Keith Urban, New Kids on the Block, Paramore, Shabuzi, The Black Crowes, Thomas Rhett.
More.
Get tickets to our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, right now, before they sell out.
At AXS.com.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, host of the Designer Yard Show and owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Do you love your landscaping? Do you appreciate the perfect blend of plants, stone, and wood that embraces your home? Do you delight in sitting on your patio with a cool drink, taking in the beauty of your backyard? If you answer yes, then we have a lot in common. Now, one more question. Does all of this beauty disappear when the sun goes down? Since 1994, the experts at Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services have been creating beautiful landscaping that can and should be enjoyed even after dark. If the beauty and pleasure of your landscaping disappears when the sun goes down, you should consider a fully automatic landscape lighting system. The experts at Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services are gifted at creating deliciously soft, subtle nighttime scenes. To schedule a meeting with one of our lighting designers, please call 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality of joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
All right, who's there for heroes or their families left behind when a service member or a first responder dies or is catastrophically injured in the line of duty? Who helps our country's homeless vets? I'll tell you who. It's the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Never forget the sacrifices of our country's greatest heroes. They're hoping all of us will donate $11 a month. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org, the letter T, number 2, letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for up to half the cost. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Savings based on cost of Consumer Cellular single line 1, 5, and 10 gig data plans with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plans offered by T-Mobile and Verizon January 2024.
Engagement rings, wedding bands, and big anniversary diamonds.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Classical conservatism and contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. We are very, very concerned that the RNC is going to bring some fringe right-wing groups with it. We're not exactly, nowhere in this article is it ever identified what those fringe groups would be. Would it be the Proud Boys? Their leader's been in prison for the past couple of years, even though he wasn't at January 6th. The Oath Keepers, who exactly are we afraid of? Just this kind of random specter of right-wing violence. Subheader in this hysterically hysterical Journal Sentinel piece. Some residents fear RNC will bring fringe groups. Daryl Morin is the national president of Forward Latino, a nonpartisan advocacy group with members and affiliates in 29 states, including Wisconsin. Whenever they say nonpartisan group, what does that mean? Liberal. They are absolutely a left-wing group. Their primary issue, as you might imagine, is illegal immigration. And right there on the front page of their website is a celebration of President Biden's executive actions to try to provide as much amnesty as humanly possible. Scroll down a little bit. A special message to the survivors of gun violence. Now, does this sound like a right-wing group that's celebrating amnesty for illegal aliens and is especially focused on gun violence? No. But again, they're presented as a nonpartisan group. Maureen said members of the community have expressed a significant amount of fear about what the next few months will bring. Once a vocal Republican, Marin left the GOP due to its defense of Trump's racist remarks and its gravitation towards white nationalism. He said Hispanic and Latino families were already worried that their appearance, their accents, or speaking Spanish in public would make them a target. That worry is only magnified amid recent anti-immigration rhetoric. There is an obvious logical flaw with this. Do you know what it is? And it's, of course, never mentioned in this ridiculous piece. They're all worried about anti-immigration, anti-Hispanic violence and rhetoric and all of this. That Hispanic groups are terrified, that Hispanic Americans are terrified of the RNC coming to town. What's the obvious logical flaw in this? More Hispanic Americans are telling us that they're going to vote for Donald Trump than any Republican possibly in American history. In fact, I would think it's likely. We're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 to 50% of Latino voters casting their ballots for Donald Trump this November. Now, you tell me, does Daryl Morin, who is a spokesman and leader for an avowedly nonpartisan but absolutely liberal group, do you think he speaks for that 40 to 45%? They're so terrified of Trump and Republicans and their anti-immigrant rhetoric that they're going to vote for him. Now, we then go to, before we, and they do talk to a number of Republicans, Will Martin and Orlando Owens, political figures, both of whom are black, both of whom are very active in the Republican Party. Martin ran unsuccessfully for lieutenant governor. Owens ran for state treasurer. But of course, before we get to them, we get to literally, I would say, 1,000 words of left-wing activists exposing or expressing their faux outrage over the RNC coming to town. Here's another one. Rhonda Hill, founder of Race and Faith, an interfaith anti-racist organization. She said some black-led organizations are skipping town during the RNC, and some of Hill's white friends are as well. But Hill is staying put. To take the fearful stance and approach is already kind of conceding, Hill said. There is more than one way of allowing people to have their viewpoints, but that doesn't mean I have to leave my hometown. Hill's apprehension is not about the Republican Party itself. As a national political party, she said the group has the right to hold its convention here and hopes it will benefit the city economically. Her unease derives from certain people or groups who associate themselves with the GOP. It's attended by people who I perceive as leaning toward a lot of hate speech, especially around race. That's the apprehension, Hill said. For Lang, remember, she's the executive director of one of the most radical left-wing groups, Bloc. For Lang, it's hard not to feel a sense of betrayal that Mayor Cavalier Johnson, Milwaukee's first elected black mayor, welcomed the RNC to the city. Trump's recent comments along the campaign trail don't help matters. At a recent Ohio rally, the former president referred to some migrants as animals, praised the people serving sentences in connection with the Capitol riot, and predicted a bloodbath if he didn't win the presidency in November. It's still hard for me to get past the psychological effects of all this, knowing our first black mayor is rolling out the red carpet for people that hate us. Did Trump call illegal immigrants animals? Nope. He was referring to criminals, and as I recall, referring to the specific criminal who raped, murdered, and badly disfigured the body of a college student in Georgia. Did he say there would be a bloodbath, there would be violence in the streets if he wasn't elected? He most certainly did not. He said there would be a bloodbath in the American auto industry and the broader economy as well if he's not elected. These are lies by omission. Did he praise the people serving sentences in connection with the Capitol riot? Not per se, but he said they were unjustly locked up, and I don't think anybody can reasonably disagree with that when you've got essentially a trespassing charge leading to 5-6 years in prison, leading to people being held for months without being allowed to have any of the basic rights that the left is usually screaming about when it comes to the incarcerated. Yes, there is an element of political persecution in the January 6th prosecutions, because all of them were predicated on this false notion that there was an attempt to stage an insurrection, that they were actually going to take over the United States government. It's ridiculous on its face. There were no guns in the Capitol. They were unarmed. What? They were going to defeat the United States Army with American flags? What, was the guy in the Viking horns, QAnon shaman, just going to like ram into them with his helmet? It was a riot, to be sure. It wasn't an attempted insurrection. But this is the sort of reporting that you get just sort of as a matter of course. There's no attempt to fact check this. I'm not sure the two reporters even knew what they just heard Trump said bloodbath. They never bothered to do the basic job of a reporter to figure out exactly what the context was. Same thing with Milwaukee is a horrible city. Time and time and time again. How many lefties do you think still believe that Trump said there were very fine people on both sides of Charlottesville? He called neo-Nazis and white supremacists very fine people, only he didn't. It's on video. He said, not the white supremacists and neo-Nazis, because they should be condemned totally. What he was talking about was the people who were protesting the removal of, was it Robert E. Lee, the Robert E. Lee statue in Charlottesville. And he actually said, what's next? What's next? Are you going to tear down statues of Thomas Jefferson and George Washington? Remember back in the day, no, the liberal media chided. There's no way anybody would take down a Thomas Jefferson statue. Less than 4 years later, the Thomas Jefferson statue, which had stood in the capital of New York State for centuries, was taken down because Thomas Jefferson, of course, is a racist. Trump was right. But this is the sort of reporting that we get. This is an incredible window into the frame of reference of the people who, by necessity, provide you with the frame of reference on world events. I'll explain coming up next here on The Dan O'Donnell Show.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage, so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cabovers than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
You can't buy caviar for the same price as candy. But right now, you can buy the highest-end Beautyrest Black and Tempur-Pedic mattresses for nowhere near their highest-end prices. Hassellus Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models, like the Split King Tempur-Pedic Luxe Breeze in soft or firm. Was $10,198, now just $25,448. Only a few remain, and they will sell out. Find a self-service, employee-free showroom near you at Hassellus.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my great friends at Mander Collision and Glass. Now, with 6 locations to serve you, you hear me talk about how great Mander is, their work ethic, their customer service. Here's customer Hank, Took my Corvette in for a new windshield with camera in the glass. Their tech knew everything and did a great job. Everyone there was friendly and helpful. I loved the modern and very neat waiting area. Thank you, guys. Finally, even the bathroom was very clean. This is a very professional family-run business. When I need any more work done, I'm coming here. Peter, you're the best. He even brought this old man an armchair so I could sit and work on my laptop. The receptionist was very quick to say hello and knew everything about my job. Thank you. No, thank you, Hank, for reminding me and everyone about the Mander difference. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com. That's mandercollision.com.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank, and as a community bank, we sincerely appreciate our customer loyalty. Over nearly 90 years, we've done all we can to return the favor. Great Midwest Bank offers flexible solutions that bigger banks and credit unions simply can't, because our entire team is right here in the community. We love helping our neighbors when we're at work and then catching up over the weekend. Visit us at greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
Life is better outdoors with maintenance-free patio furniture from By the Yard. Made in the USA and backed by a 35-year warranty. See all the styles and colors at their new showroom in Oconomowoc or shop at bytheyard.net.
If you're in the market for replacement windows, open up to something better. Infinity from Marvin, the latest from Marvin, the window company you know and trust. Infinity replacement windows are made entirely of Ultrex, a long-lasting fiberglass material 8 times stronger than vinyl. So durable, Infinity doesn't just last, it outlasts other replacement windows. So your low-maintenance windows stay beautiful and energy efficient for years to come. Imagine the comfort of your home with new thermally efficient, Energy Star rated Infinity windows. Imagine never sanding, scraping, or painting your windows again. With Infinity from Marvin, all you have to do is enjoy the view. You'll also enjoy the no-hassle experience of professional installation and the protection of our comprehensive warranty. Visit or call us for Infinity from Marvin today, the better window replacement solution.
Call Callan at 414-529-5509 or visit callanwindows.com to book your free estimate. When it's time for a hassle-free window and door replacement, call Callan.
Need a tree on the ground now? Cut and Go offers same day or next day half-service tree removal. We do the dangerous part, putting the trees on the ground in orderly fashion. You do the cleanup. A Trees and Tons movement. cutandgotrees.com. That's CUTNGO trees.com.
For years now, people have been switching their wireless service to Pure Talk to save money. Just $20 a month, you get unlimited talk and text and tons of data. But more people are switching to Pure Talk, a veteran-owned company, to support the America's Warrior Partnership and their mission to help prevent veteran suicide. To make the switch, dial pound 250, say the keyword SAVE NOW, and you'll be connected to Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team. Make the switch, same service, save money, help vets, pound 250, keyword SAVE NOW.
The housing market stays hot and prices stay high, with low inventory continuing to be the main culprit. Bob Tarantino from Redefined Realty, and that's great news for sellers. High interest rates don't seem to be slowing down the buyers, but high real estate commissions are a real stick in the eye to sellers. Interview a 3.99% Redefined Realty agent before signing a contract for 5 or even 6%. Commissions are negotiable, but you have to know where to start. Visit redefinedrealty.com for your free market analysis.
You can host the best backyard barbecue when you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
It is the Dan O'Donnell Show, officially endorsed by former president, leading presidential candidate, and convicted felon Donald Trump.
Your show is a very important show, and it's a great show, and we appreciate it.
Milwaukee Journal Sentinel's fear-mongering about the RNC coming to town is completely contradicted by the actual facts on the ground. Brand new poll by CBS News released yesterday shows Joe Biden only getting 75% of the black vote. If Trump gets, as the polling would suggest, 24% of the black vote, it's over. There is pretty much no chance that Joe Biden can win, depending on where that black support is. If all of the black votes are in Alabama or California or states that aren't going to shift, that aren't going to, I don't want to say no state, every state doesn't matter, but let's face it, there's a grand total of 7 and probably closer to about 4. I'm going to include Pennsylvania. I think Pennsylvania is now likely going to be the state on which this election depends. Wisconsin, folks, I know I've seen the polling. I guess I just know this state. I know the way Democrats have been able to get voters out, or at least votes out, on college campuses. I just have my doubts about Trump winning Wisconsin. He clearly thinks he can, but let's just say I have my doubts. Now, there is polling that suggests that this race is, that this could be, folks, I don't want to get anybody to count their chickens or anything like that, but there was, I believe it was a Siena College poll, it might have been Emerson, released last week that showed Trump and Biden tied in Minnesota. Tied. Minnesota should be a safe blue state. Now, that poll might be an outlier because it was the first that I saw where Trump was anywhere near Biden in Minnesota. And again, you have to take Minnesota and Michigan with a grain of salt because you've got high concentrations of Muslim and people who are more sympathetic to the Palestinian Hamas cause in those states, who are basically telling pollsters, and they're engaging in as much symbolic protest vote activity as you can in order to send a message to Biden because of his support for Israel. I would imagine that those votes gravitate towards Biden, that these people aren't going to be voting for Donald Trump, but if they could be persuaded to vote for Cornel West or Jill Stein, that might be a real problem for Biden. So I think that this, and also, I forgot to comment on this when it crossed the wire last week. Do you know where Trump is going right after his debate on Thursday? Friday afternoon, giant rally in Virginia. Now, why do you suppose Trump is going to Virginia, of all places? He could very easily he could stay in Georgia, right? He's going to be in Atlanta at the CNN headquarters, could do a big rally there. Why is he going to Virginia? Because he clearly sees polling that would suggest that Virginia is in play. Virginia typically isn't in play. Now, remember, it famously went red in the gubernatorial and state elections of 2021. In 2023, it swung right back to a Democrat-controlled state legislature, at least the state Senate. I can't remember if their General Assembly or whatever they call it over there went back to the Democrats. But the point is that Virginia hasn't really been a swing state for probably 20 years. George W. Bush's era saw it being a swing state. It really hasn't been in the era of Obama and Trump. It's been solidly blue. But if Trump is able to expand the map like that, Democrats have real problems. Now, take a look also at this Hispanic polling. Trump gets 44% of the Hispanic vote. 44%. We're so terrified about Donald Trump's anti-immigrant and anti-Hispanic rhetoric that 44% of Hispanic voters say they're going to vote for him. Interestingly enough, the only group age-wise that Biden is actually leading in are people aged 18 to 29, where he's got a commanding 61 to 38% lead. Guess who is the least likely to actually vote among age groups? 18 to 29. I will also point out that the human brain is not fully formed and fully developed until about age 25, so take that information how you will. Biden is barely leading amongst independents, 50 to 49. Trump, though, has a 50 to 49 polling advantage. Remember again, Trump can actually lose the popular vote by 4 to 5%, as he did against Hillary Clinton, and still win a pretty commanding victory in the in the Electoral College. In fact, most of the forecasting sites, Decision Desk, 538, Real Clear Polling, they have Trump winning between 290 and 310 electoral votes. Only 538 has Biden narrowly getting a 270 to 268 Electoral College win. And I think the biggest reason for this is, I believe, folks, I'm putting on my prognosticator hat, and I could be way wrong. We could be seeing an absolute landslide victory, but I don't think it's going to be, because of how this country is divided, because of how Democrats are able to pull votes out of thin air, mostly after the reporters and poll watchers have gone home at 3 a.m. But I think Trump is likely to lose both Wisconsin and Michigan. I don't see it happening. Now, I could be wrong, and this means Pennsylvania, assuming, of course, that Minnesota and Virginia stay blue. Let's just assume that happens. We could see a surprise state. You could see Virginia suddenly go to Trump. You could see Minnesota go to Trump. If that happens, I would suggest if Minnesota goes blue, Trump is going to sweep the Rust Belt. He's going to win Michigan. He's going to win Wisconsin. He's going to win Pennsylvania. I think Pennsylvania is probably the most likely that Trump is going to win. He needs to win one of those three states, assuming again that assuming again that Minnesota and Virginia stay in Biden's column. But then Trump also has to sweep the South. He also has to sweep Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada. And North Carolina, but I think North Carolina is pretty safely in Trump's camp. The biggest surprise to me amongst the polling surprises that I've seen all year long is that Trump has maintained in pretty much every poll, both national outfits and local Nevada polling, Trump has maintained a significant lead in Nevada. Now, I've always said, I always caution about getting too excited about Nevada. Just like Democrats are able to just magically turn out college student votes in Madison, here in Wisconsin, they are able to turn out their SEIU, service industry employee unions in Las Vegas and Reno. And every time Republicans think they're going to win Nevada, it never seems to happen. But if, in fact, the polling is accurate and Trump wins Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia, he's going to need to win one of the three states, Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania. If he doesn't, if Biden wins all three, it's not going to matter what Trump does in those other states because he's going to lose probably 270 to 268. However, here's what's really interesting. Folks, you ready for this one? Yes, that's it, exactly. If he wins just Pennsylvania and Georgia, Dave is doing the math along with me. He wins Pennsylvania and Georgia. He can actually lose Wisconsin and Michigan and Nevada. Really? Oh, based on current polling. No, he's not. If 270 to win, no. Biden would, in fact, okay, you're talking about current polling. Are you giving Trump Wisconsin, Michigan? Oh, yeah, you're right. I'll be doggone. Okay, producer Dave. Yep. You know what it was? I was counting 15. I don't know why I got it in my head. It's 19 electoral votes for Pennsylvania. And for some reason, I got it in my head that it was 15. This is why I am not a mathematician. Yes, but two heads are better than one day. This is why we're so glad to have you back. This is the content that you provide. Yeah, Pennsylvania is the whole ballgame because Trump could actually lose Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, and Michigan. So long as he wins Georgia with its 16 electoral votes and Pennsylvania with its 19 electoral votes, he gets 271 electoral votes, assuming, of course, as many are, that he's going to win one of the two congressional districts in Maine. Remember, Maine and Nebraska are different different. They apportion their electors by congressional district. Each one has 2, and excuse me, if you win one, you get the electoral vote. All right. Now that we've bored everybody by doing nothing but talking about numbers, we'll have some fun and have a golf edition of the Unhinged Liberal of the Day.
Hi, it's Jerry Bott. And if you're someone with chronic back pain, listen up. I have really good news and a number you can call to get some relief. If your back pain is due to a disc problem, there's a non-surgical procedure that can help discs actually grow and recover. It's called Disc Seal. This FDA-approved biologic repairs damaged discs with a simple injection. Takes about 20 minutes, minimally invasive, no surgery, no fusion, no metal rods, and no long recovery time. Best of all, Disc Seal works. Pain relieved, flexibility restored, success rate over 80%. Chronic back pain is miserable. This could be your chance to play golf again, do some gardening, ride your bike, get your life back. It's Disc Seal powered by Longevity Health 360. Call for a consultation absolutely free, 262-200-2700. Or visit WIDiscSeal, that's SEEL.com. Disc Seal, powered by Longevity Health 360.
Do you need to get new siding on your house this year but have some concerns? Hi, Colleen here from Tri-County Contracting. Here's some common concerns. 1, I don't know where to start. There's so many siding companies. Start with Tri-County Contracting. With over 45 years in roofing and siding, ask your neighbors or look us up online. Visit our website, tricountycontractingwi.com, for a free, no-pressure estimate. 2, what product do I pick for my siding? What about colors? Do I change the color of my house? Our showroom in New Berlin has different kinds of vinyl siding and lots of LP SmartSide on display. We have siding colors paired with roofing colors to help get your creativity going. After looking through the options, we will help find the siding color you will love. 3, I'm worried about the price. With new LP SmartSide's 30-year no-fade paint warranty, you'll cut the painting cost out of your life. You'll give your house the most impactful curb appeal upgrade possible. New siding will transform your house and increase your home's value. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting.
Is thinking about your mortality a tough subject? Do you believe that time is on your side? Hi, I'm Karen Ellen Becker, founder and senior wealth advisor for the Ellen Becker Investment Group. Talking about mortality can be a sensitive subject, but it is important if you want to protect your assets, minimize estate taxes, and preserve your loved ones' futures. You may think that estate planning is only for the wealthy, when in fact, it is for everybody. Estate planning gives you peace of mind, knowing that your assets and legacy will be protected and handled according to your wishes after you are gone. If you are feeling overwhelmed and not sure where to start, or you need a review of your current estate plan, turn to EIG. Our advisors can explain the benefits of having a plan in place, introduce you to an estate planning attorney, and answer any concerns that you may have. EIG, we are advisors for real life.
Summer is here, Wisconsin. That means summer fun is now. Hi, this is Terry Lodwick, owner of All American Window and Door Company. Our windows, doors, and siding are designed to give you maintenance freedom, easy cleaning, and endless enjoyment. All American Window and Door Company offers you factory direct pricing, so the best costs less. Keep your home comfy and your fuel bills low. Shop our website at allamericanwindow.com. All American Window and Door Company, 262-255-7170. Estimates are free.
Summer is here, and it's time to gather with family and friends for outdoor barbecues and backyard fun. Hi, this is Eric Weishar, president of Breckenridge Landscape. Have you been thinking about a new patio for entertaining? Maybe an outdoor kitchen for weekend cookouts, or perhaps a pergola to create a nice shady spot to relax in? Let our team of landscape designers and installation craftsmen at Breckenridge Landscape create the perfect outdoor room for you. Send us a message at BreckenridgeLandscape.com and let us get started on your next landscape project.
Zero Foxtrot isn't just a brand, it's a way of life. Founded and operated by veterans, Zero Foxtrot's unique apparel and gear echoes the grit of the warrior culture. Zero Foxtrot dedicates itself to producing content, honoring the sacrifices of forgotten heroes of the past, and connecting history to the present. Embark on a journey with Zero Foxtrot today at zerofoxtrot.com. It's not merely our products, it's about the ethos that we embody. Rugged, resilient, and timeless.
Life's a journey, and Russ Darrow is revving up for the ride. Russ Darrow and the places you'll go. Head to russdarrow.com to explore how they can help you get to your next adventure.
Dan O'Donnell here. Renovate your home with Abbey Windows, a local company that puts money back into our economy. One that's fiscally responsible. Schedule your free estimate today at abbywindows.com. That's abbywindows.com. Welcome back, Dan O'Donnell. Showtime now to name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Your unhinged liberals of the day are the 6 climate protesters who stormed the 18th green while the leaders were lining up their putts for the final hole of regulation at the Travelers Championship PGA event yesterday. And they sprayed smoke and powder all over the place, delaying the finish for about 5 minutes. They waved smoke bombs that left white and red residue on the putting surface before Scotty Scheffler, Tom Kim, and Akshay Bhatia finished their round. Some wore t-shirts with the words, "No golf on a dead planet" in black lettering on the front. I'm sorry, isn't golf like the most environmentally friendly sport you could possibly play? I'm convinced that the climate movement, did you see they just spray painted Stonehenge to protest climate change? I am convinced these people are an elaborate psyop by the oil industry to get people to turn against the climate change movement. Those 6 nut jobs, your unhinged liberals of the day. We now know the difference between the insane and the sane as we bring in the decidedly sane Brian Jacobson, chief economist with Annex Wealth Management, to help you know the difference between financial advisors. What's going on this week, Brian?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. And thank you for the compliment. I think that this week we're really looking at what's going on in the tech sector. Last week, the big news was how there was a new king of the hill. You had NVIDIA briefly eclipsing Microsoft as the most valuable company in the world based on market capitalization. So that's just the stock price multiplied by the number of shares that are out there. And it wasn't able to hold on to that. In fact, we're actually seeing a little bit of reversal, a little bit of weakness this week. It's somewhat reminiscent of during the 60s and 70s, there was this phenomenon called the Nifty 50, supposed to be 50 companies that were very stable. They had great growth potential. They were kind of one decision stocks. You just buy it, hold it forever. Well, it comes to find out you had to make a couple decisions there and do the ongoing monitoring because they couldn't hold those positions. So even though we had a new king of the hill, he wasn't quite able to hold it.
No, and I'm not particularly surprised. Pretty much for as long as I've been paying attention to markets and market cap size companies, it's always been a consumer facing company that has been the biggest. It's like Apple for the longest time because of its dominance of the cell phone sector, and then it got into tablets and all of that. And Microsoft, what computer from about 1992 on didn't have Windows on it outside of Apple's? But NVIDIA is selling chips that are not, you can't go out and buy an NVIDIA chip, right? These are part of the processors. And this to me, and Brian, I think we're going to talk about this on our podcast as you're sitting in for Dave Spano, the difference, which we record after the Dan O'Donnell show each week. We're going to talk about NVIDIA and just what an incredible story it's been, that this has the potential to be even a much bigger company than that. Brian Jacobson, chief economist, the website annexwealth.com.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Tad Allen. 6 more tornadoes touched down in Wisconsin Saturday night. The National Weather Service confirmed them all yesterday, with the strongest being an EF2 twister in Janesville. 4 EF1 intensity tornadoes were also certified by the agency, 2 in Walworth County near Geneva Lake and just east of Delavan, another west of Watertown, and the 4th south of Marshall in Dane County. An EF0 tornado that hit Cornelia near Platteville in southwest Wisconsin was also confirmed. The latest confirmations bring the total number of twisters in the state this year to 30. As the Midwest recuperates after dangerous storms and flash flooding over the weekend, 44 million people across the country are under some sort of heat warning or advisory today. National Weather Service issuing heat warnings for the Southeast, Mid-South, and Plains. The head of Wisconsin schools said the state knew about Milwaukee Public Schools' fiscal problems before last spring's tax hike vote, but decided to stay quiet. On Up Front this weekend, State Superintendent Jill Underly said the Department of Public Instruction knew that Milwaukee was late with those still incomplete financial records and knew the city's school district could lose millions of dollars because of it. But Underly says they didn't want to interfere with MPS's $250 million referendum in April. She says local schools wouldn't like it if DPI started to weigh in on votes that could potentially cost them money. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard, the Brewers return home to begin a 3-game series with the Texas Rangers tonight at American Family Field. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
And that's the best thing about Capital's AC Beyondification.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Hey, Merle, what you got? What's this? A screenplay?
Let me see this. Captain Capital, Heat and Air Hero.
That's so awesome, Merle.
Hang on. I've been writing a screenplay like this.
For years.
It's an epic, and it's Capital Man, not Captain Capital. Yes, of course he restores your air conditioner to like new condition.
Says here, Captain Capital has a deep clean device.
Aha! Capital Man deep cleans your system with his laser beam hands.
What?
I'm developing a sidekick. He always does the comprehensive safety checks. You wrote yourself in as the sidekick?
As long as it gets across how Capital's AC Beyondification saves the day.
And how you want to do it before summer hits.
Well, that's the whole point.
That's what I'm saying.
Then it's great.
Laura, Seth, I need a moment with Merle, please.
Schedule your AC Beyondification today online at callcapitalcares.com.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Partly sunny today with a high around 80 inland, mid-70s lakeside. There is the chance for storms late tonight into Tuesday morning, which could be severe. Then hot and humid Tuesday with a high of 88. A few more storms possible during the day. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Stephanie Barrichello.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. Choose Grand Appliance for superior service, fast delivery, and unbeatable deals like a 5-burner Frigidaire gas or electric range in black stainless for just $4.99. Shop grandappliance.com or your local showroom today. That's Grand Appliance, experts since 1930.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit LynchTruckCenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
Window Nation's semi-annual sale continues for just a couple of more days through the end of the month. 50% off all windows, along with no interest for 5 years and a bonus 10% savings if you schedule your estimate right now. 866-90-NATION or find them online, windownation.com.
Summer is here, and it's time to gather with family and friends for outdoor barbecues and backyard fun. Hi, this is Eric Weishar, president of Breckenridge Landscape. Have you been thinking about a new patio for entertaining? Maybe an outdoor kitchen for weekend cookouts, or perhaps a pergola to create a nice shady spot to relax in? Let our team of landscape designers and installation craftsmen at Breckenridge Landscape create the perfect outdoor room for you. Send us a message at BreckenridgeLandscape.com and let us get started on your next landscape project.
In this week's Marketers Report, we hear about the importance of local radio from Allison Griffin, head of marketing at State Farm.
iHeart has such a broad broadcast reach that is local, and for us to be able to touch customers with a local feel but at a national scale is so efficient and important for us.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to the audiences, trusted influencers, and data you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Zero Foxtrot isn't just a brand, it's a way of life. Founded and operated by veterans, Zero Foxtrot's unique apparel and gear echoes the grit of the warrior culture. Zero Foxtrot dedicates itself to producing content, honoring the sacrifices of forgotten heroes of the past, and connecting history to the present. Embark on a journey with Zero Foxtrot today at zerofoxtrot.com. It's not merely our products, it's about the ethos that we embody. Rugged, resilient, and timeless.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Warshawski's Victor Harding, Best Lawyers Product Liability Attorney of the Year, achieves maximum compensation.
Best Lawyers Complex Litigation Lawyer of the Year, Warshawski's Frank Cravello achieves maximum injury compensation.
Injured?
It is about the money.
Warshawski.com.
You're just a click away from listening to News Talk 1130 WISN in glorious digital clarity via the iHeart app. Click, enjoy, repeat.
starting to subscribe to the theory that it's all an elaborate psyop by the oil industry to get a bunch of wackos out there to spray paint the Mona Lisa and graffiti Stonehenge and interrupt golf tournaments to make the climate movement look as bad as possible. I saw that theorized on X a couple of weeks ago, and I said, you know what? This might be a conspiracy theory that makes sense. Welcome back to the Dan O'Donnell Show. I am Dan, but you probably guessed that already. If you would like to join us into this hour's foray into broadcast excellence, or at the very least, and let's face it, far more likely broadcast competence, you can shoot us a text. You can give us a call. The AdventNews.com talk and text line is open. 414-799-1130. Reach us toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me, dod@iheartmedia.com. Be sure to follow us on X at Dan O'Donnell Show. You can watch this show streaming live there or on Facebook, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, or on our YouTube channel. Over the weekend, I've got to give credit where credit is due. Upfront anchor Jaron Jordan did a phenomenal job of absolutely grilling Wisconsin Superintendent Jill Underly over the fact that the Department of Public Instruction, which Underly heads, knew about the Milwaukee Public School District refusing for 8 months to provide DPI with required financial reporting because they simply couldn't account for hundreds of millions of dollars that had been spent, that was in some accounts somewhere, we're not exactly sure. DPI knew from at least mid to late March that MPS was having this massive issue. They remained silent about it, and Jordan, on Upfront yesterday, demanded answers from Underly.
Why didn't DPI make this known before voters approved a $252 million referendum?
Yeah, so we're focused on getting MPS back into compliance, and we have not interfered in referendums in the past. So I can't imagine if DPI started weighing in on local school district referendums, what repercussions that would have, how school boards would feel about that, how superintendents would feel about that. And so we really rely as a local control state for that relationship between the superintendent and the board to keep each other informed.
Now, whoa. This is a complete lie. This is absolute hogwash, and I can prove it. She focuses on local control. She doesn't want DPI getting involved in local school board issues like referenda. She literally went to Waukesha shortly before the election to campaign for the 3 Liberal candidates. She herself, Jill Underly, was in Waukesha campaigning, going door to door, making speeches, doing everything she could to get 3 Liberals elected. Fortunately, she was unsuccessful, but this is just a flat-out lie. Now, if I were Jaron Jordan, I would have brought this up. Chances are he didn't know about this. And again, I'm giving credit where credit is due because Jordan did a good job in following up on this.
MPS leaders knew about this in March. DPI knew about this in March. I know that you say that you didn't realize how bad of an issue it was, but there was a massive campaign asking taxpayers to pass this referendum, $252 million. There was never any mention that MPS had been late from MPS officials or DPI. Do you think that that was disingenuous to taxpayers?
Well, not at all necessarily, because a referendum is there to help the school district be able to provide programs for kids. We have to do what's best for kids, and passing a referendum is what's best for kids in many all situations.
Even if that money is needed only because of their own errors on keeping the finances together?
Let me pause for a second to say, oh, snap.
Well, I guess it would just necessarily depend. When I look at a referendum, that's to keep programs going. That's to pay your teachers. That's certainly to make sure all kids can read. It's a lot of different things that are outside of financial problems.
Well, no. They had just gotten, remember, $800 million paid in installments from 3 different rounds of ESSER grants from the federal government that started in March of 2020 and are continuing to this day. The last round of payments will be in September. They've gotten hundreds of millions of dollars. They just went to referendum in April of 2020, which gave them an additional $87 million. But they go to referendum in 2024 saying, oh, we need to save these programs, Really, they were going because they had frittered away the hundreds of millions of dollars that they had been given by the federal government, by us. It's not the government. It's not as, remember that famous, we're here to get some money. What kind of money? Obama money. Where does he get it? His stash. There is no federal government stash. That is every man, woman, and child who pays taxes in this country funding MPS. They lose this money. They have no idea where it is, or at least they don't want to tell anybody where it is. It leads to the sudden resignation of the CFO, the firing of the superintendent, and DPI knew about this, but they knew what a big mess MPS had made, and they are complicit. Underly herself was complicit in fleecing taxpayers for $250 million, and this comes at a time when the city of Milwaukee can ill afford another tax increase following that 2% imposition of a tax increase on sales taxes to fund primarily what? Massive raises for Cavalier Johnson, the Common Council, and pretty much everybody else in an appointed position of political power and authority in the city of Milwaukee. Now, this comes after amid a great article by Dan Bice. Khalif Rainey, remember him? Alderman, he just resigned to take over the city's Office of African American Affairs. Turns out they looked at his key card. How many times he swiped his key card, and I would love to do this. In fact, I'm actually thinking of following up on Dan's report with every single member of the Common Council to find out exactly how often they were in the office. Khalif Rainey was in the office 10% of the time he could have been. 10%. Yet he got a massive raise. Yes, that would be 1 day every 2 pay periods, Dave. 1 pay period. Yeah, okay, 1 pay period. Yeah, 1 day every 2 weeks. 1 day every 2 weeks. Now, look, I'm granting you, seeing as I was just in Croatia for 2 weeks, I'm not one to talk this particular pay period. But could you imagine? It would be like the Mark Belling show in reverse. If Belling just showed up on Fridays and you had fill-ins doing every other 4, that is the Khalif Rainey. It would be even less than that. That was the Khalif Rainey schedule. So you've already got Milwaukeeans who are paying for this abomination of raises after they pay. Well, no, we need the city sales tax because we're drowning in our own failed pension system. We need to get our pension system right. And they turn around and give themselves money. Then MPS, which is looking for a substantial tax increase on property taxes, counts on the fact that barely anybody in the city of Milwaukee actually owns the houses in which they live. It's a lot of renters. They're like, oh, okay, fine. That referendum passed by the skin of its teeth. Is there any chance, if people knew what a financial mess MPS was, that they would have just given them $250 million? Of course not. The interview between Jordan and Underly goes on.
They have been able to pay teachers and keep kids in the classrooms by keeping their finances in order?
The thing is, it's like we pushed to make this public, all right? And when it comes to financial reporting and it comes to how, the community is informed, we can do better. And we are looking at ways to make that more transparent.
When? Was there a press conference that was held, Dr. Underly, that I just sort of missed? We pushed to make this public. After, of course, the referendum passed, because if you push to make it public before, what was it, April 4th, April 5th, then the people most assuredly wouldn't give MPS $250 million of our dollars for it to fix its own fiscal mismanagement. I mean, this smacks of corruption at the highest levels of the education establishment here. They had to know. And at the same time, this woman is saying, well, we don't interfere in local issues because we believe in local control. She's out there physically campaigning for liberals in Waukesha in the school board race. You've got to be kidding me. She's even saying, yes, well, we believe that the only way to help kids is through referendum. Well, that's politicking for referendum. You tell me the last time that the Department of Public Instruction did not come out in favor of a referendum. This is, frankly, bordering on, I'm not sure if it borders on criminal level cover-up here. But there is information that's relevant to the public's knowledge and its ability to make an informed decision on passing a massive tax hike on the heels of another massive tax hike in the form of the new city sales tax. And everybody involved conspires to keep it quiet. Then, once the referendum has safely passed, then everything explodes. Oh, well, now there needs to be accountability. We need to remove Dr. Keith Posley from office. We need to remove the CFO. We need to remove everybody involved. And everybody just kind of suddenly quietly takes retirement. And then we pretend that this is just Dr. Keith Posley. Well, you had one school board member, Aisha Carr, who was pushing even before. She said, look, I can't get any information about what's going on with the district's finances. She actually came on my show. And I have no doubt Aisha Carr, I've never met her. I talked to her a couple of times. I have no doubt she's politically very liberal, but she couldn't get anybody to listen to her. When a school board member is saying, hey, I can't get any information about the district's finances, that immediately raised red flags in me. I had no idea how bad the problem was, that they just weren't accounting for any of the money they spent because they had no earthly idea where all of this money went. What happened to Aisha Carr? They immediately targeted her for allegedly not living in the school board district that she represented, and she was forced to resign from the school board. So they punish whistleblowers They deliberately keep information from the public, and we have the potential for, and folks, frankly, I'm not sure if the cover-up is criminal, but I am willing to wager that where there's smoke, there's fire, and that there has been a significant amount of embezzlement and outright fraud. Whenever you see an organization that just refuses to turn over financial documents, refuses to report how it's spending money, there's almost always some sort of hanky-panky going on. There's almost always somebody who's getting a cut of this money who's not supposed to be. That money that's allocated for, say, the Head Start program, which just got shut down by the feds because they can't stop abusing and neglecting kids in their pre-kindergarten care. You've got a real significant problem, and you've got the Department of Education, the Department of Public Instruction, that is tasked with overseeing. The entire job of DPI is to ensure that this sort of stuff doesn't happen, that the public knows what's going on. And when you're in league with an organization that is quite possibly the worst run and potentially, I say potentially, most criminal in the state of Wisconsin, we have got a real problem here. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show is next.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One.
Coming back to Las Vegas, September 20th and 21st. Streaming live only on Hulu.
Don't miss
Big Sean, Camila Cabello, Doja Cat, Gwen Stefani, Hozier, Keith Urban, New Kids on the Block, Paramore, Shabuzi, The Black Crowes, Thomas Rhett, Victoria Monet,
and more.
Get tickets to our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, right now, before they sell out.
At AXS.com.
I'm Jim Sickles at Milwaukee Fence Finders. A beautiful Milwaukee Fence Finders privacy fence can't make a trash-hoarding goofball clean up their yard or stop wanting to see what your family is doing in the pool or hot tub, or keep their dog on a leash, or rake their leaves, or blow snow on their own yard. And chain link fences won't stop them from thinking if they cut your grass, they own a piece of your property. A fence around the perimeter of your business slot won't stop thieves from wanting to steal your tools or materials. No. Good fences don't make good neighbors. They block lousy ones. Fence Finder fences do make clear who gets to step in or clean up their pooch's poop. Block the view, clarify ownership, and make it a lot harder for creeps and criminals to exploit your property. Don't wait to enjoy neighbors enjoying their property. Milwaukee Fence Finders installs fences spring, summer, fall, and all winter. We'll help you enjoy neighbors enjoying their property. MilwaukeeFenceFinders.com. That's MilwaukeeFenceFinders.com.
Get the best quality Dutch Boy paints for your painting project at Menards. Paint in one coat with Max Bond Plus exterior paint. It provides max adhesion, hide, and performance. With over 800 one-coat colors, it's designed to work for you. And with Dutch Boy's easy opening, smooth pouring container, transforming your home has never been easier. Save big money on Dutch Boy paints and head into Menards to get your paint project started today.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here. Let me ask you this. Does inflation feel worse than what we're being told in the news? That's because the official inflation rate doesn't tell the whole story. Since January 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but what you can do is stop your losses today. How? By diversifying your savings into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. When you're done, your money will be parked in a tangible asset with a proven history. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SECURE to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax advantaged status. So text SECURE to 989898. That's SECURE to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
Conservative thought.
Not just talk.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Speaking of government waste, A taxpayer-funded project in England set to research connections between milk and colonialism, aka racism. Daily Mail reports academics at an Oxford museum will research the political nature of milk and its colonial legacies. One of the experts involved has previously argued that milk is a, quote, Northern European obsession that has been imposed on other parts of the world. Dr. Johanna Zetterstrom-Sharp said the assumption that milk was a key part of the human diet may be understood as a white supremacist one, as many populations outside Europe and North America have high levels of lactose intolerance in adulthood. The new project is entitled Milking It: Colonialism, Heritage, and Everyday Engagement with Dairy, and is won funding from the Arts and Humanities Research Council. Milk is now racist. I would suggest remembering that if in a couple of days you decide to call in and try to play Guess What's Racist, America's favorite game show. Milk is right. This is just classic government, though. Here in Milwaukee, you have an organization that every regulator who is involved in the process knows has serious financial issues, cannot be trusted to manage hundreds of millions of dollars that have come in to fund it through the COVID pandemic and long after. Yet it hides that knowledge so that the gullible people of the city of Milwaukee say, well, MPS just needs more funding. Because it's for the children, you see. And then Joe Underly tries to take credit for blowing the whistle. Well, we tried to get this information out to the public. No, you kept that information from the public, relevant information that would have informed one of the biggest votes Milwaukee has ever taken with respect to MPS. Not only that, MPS's finances are so dire that it was overshadowed by the discussion of Posley's future a couple of weeks ago. MPS actually cut hundreds of teacher positions, no bureaucrat positions, mind you, but hundreds of in-classroom teacher positions because they didn't have the money to pay them. Now, let that sink in for a second. They've gotten, by my count, over the last 4 years, roughly $1 billion from federal and referendum money, in addition to the annual funding that they get from property tax levies and state aid from shared revenue and the like, money that just comes directly out of the state budget, also funded by taxpayers across Wisconsin. They've gotten $1 billion. And they are so out of money. They are so cash-strapped that they have to fire teachers. Now, we're told Underly is sitting there telling Jaron Jordan on up front that we need this money because we need to help kids in the classroom. And all this money is going to the classroom. Where has the money gone over the past 4 years? Honest to goodness. I can guarantee you that putting up screens and handing out masks when you finally went back, and remember, the city of Madison and the city of Milwaukee were the two school districts that they had to be dragged back into the classroom. The MTEA, the Milwaukee Teachers Union, refused to go back into class. Every other school district, pretty much every other school district in the state started up in the fall of 2020. MPS went back for 2 weeks in the spring of 2021 and then just ended. Most of those kids just had about a calendar year where they didn't go to school. MPS had a significant problem with kids not doing online learning, and what was it? Something like 50% of the kids, they just had no idea where they went. Just no clue. They're just, whatever, not in school for a year. But MPS is telling us that they should be rewarded because they do such a great job and they have such a need to help these kids. that they just need more money. Now, the federal funding that they have for the most vulnerable kids in their care, those in the Head Start program, the 3K, 4K program, the program got shut down. The federal government pulled its money because they were neglecting kids and in some cases abusing kids. And in fact, a report from the federal government found every single Head Start facility in Milwaukee had issues. I know I complain about government agencies being completely and totally dysfunctional. I don't think there is a more dysfunctional agency, forget about Wisconsin, in the United States. Seriously. What other organization just has no idea how it frittered away $800 million, loses federal funding because it can't keep its employees from beating up 3-year-olds, and then fires hundreds of teachers even after they get a $250 million cash influx? This is absolutely staggering. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. It's a tour de force of truth, the sort of truth you just won't get from the rest of the media. Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. Over the last 75 years, the Lynch family has understood the value of a relationship with their own customers, their employees, and also their community. That's just one of the reasons they've been awarded a Top Workplace Award for the 5th consecutive year. Happy employees provide top-level service, and if you're tired of the same old car buying experience and want to be treated like family, let them show you the Lynch difference. With Lynch certified, every qualified vehicle comes with peace of mind in the form of a 3-month, 3,000-mile certified warranty. Lynch Protected covers your windshield, road hazards, and paint for 1 year. With locations in Burlington, Kenosha, West Bend, and 3 stores in the Mukwonago community, Lynch is easy and convenient to find. Come and get treated like family and experience the Lynch difference, or find them online at shoplynch.com.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Active Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368. Don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval. Get the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as better than the rest. The rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet. Get yours by clicking on the blue button at ACCUNET.com.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my great friends at Mander Collision and Glass. Now, with 6 locations to serve you, you hear me talk about how great Mander is, their work ethic, their customer service. Here's customer Hank. Took my Corvette in for a new windshield with camera in the glass. Their tech knew everything and did a great job. Everyone there was friendly and helpful. I loved the modern and very neat waiting area. Thank you, guys. Finally, even the bathroom was very clean. This is a very professional, family-run business. When I need any more work done, I'm coming here. Peter, you're the best. He even brought this old man an armchair so I could sit and work on my laptop. The receptionist was very quick to say hello and knew everything about my job. Thank you. No, thank you, Hank, for reminding me and everyone about the Mander difference. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com. That's mandercollision.com.
Do you have a rotted wood window, foggy or broken glass, having a hard time opening your sliding door? Argo Glass and Windows can fix it all, saving the original look and your budget. Call us today and get a free estimate from Argo, where we repair first, replace at worst. Your one-stop window and door problem solver. Call us at 262-372-7110. That's 262-372-7110. Argo Glass and Windows, 262-372-7110.
Hi, it's John Reitz from Great Midwest Bank. And you know, there's more to being a local Wisconsin bank than perfectly pronouncing Oconomowoc or Waukesha. Or is it Waukesha? But rest assured, at Great Midwest Bank, we understand the local community and economy because we're a part of it. At GMB, we provide customized lending products that others just can't offer. Experience a hometown banking difference. Head to greatmidwestbank.com. Great Midwest Bank, your simply local equal housing lender.
It was a doozy, all right.
Apparently, things got a little out of hand, as evidenced by the job description.
Repair heel marks on conference table.
You get the picture. Office party, a few too many drinks, and a gal who felt compelled to use the top of the conference table as a dance floor. And as you expected, we showed up on site and made that tabletop as good as new. By golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. Well, if you haven't heard me bragging by now, we're darn good. Actually, my dad has no qualms about saying we're the best. And if you're skeptical, I understand. But all you have to do is go to MullallyFinishing.com to learn why we're great at what we do and see lots of before and after photos that show off our impressive work. So if you're looking for a name you can trust, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
Even when you get a great price, diamonds cost a lot of money.
But we want you to be able to buy the engagement ring you really want.
You won't have to settle for anything less than fantastic when you come to Kessler's.
We do everything in our power to make it possible for you to give her that magical engagement ring you really want her to have.
Friendly financing makes it possible.
We can give you 0% interest for 12 months with approved credit.
And with approved credit, we can give you 36 months to pay with just 9.99%.
And if getting your credit approved is a problem, we've even got second chance financing for people who deserve a second chance.
Don't settle for second best. Come to Kessler's.
Seriously, we do everything in our power to make it possible for you to give her that magical engagement ring you really want her to have.
That's the sort of thing you can expect from us when you hear us say, welcome to Kessler's.
Welcome to Kessler's.
For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, go to KesslersDiamonds.com. And one more thing, welcome to Kessler's.
An unsuspecting driver at a gas station in Wisconsin.
Welcome, Pump 15. How you doing?
Great.
Were you wearing your seatbelt today?
I never wear my seatbelt.
We're going to get him. We're going to get him real good.
Oh, my goodness.
Hello, sir. How you doing? Donald Driver. It takes 1 second to strap a seatbelt on. Well, let's do this. Let's do it together. Now, don't that feel better?
Donald Driver can't always be there to remind you.
Click it or ticket.
And let's reduce fatalities on Wisconsin roadways.
And I should have recognized your voice when you're harassing.
I'm watching you.
Sponsored by Wisconsin DOT.
For Neri, award-winning home remodeling.
The next generation is here. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Anything for you.
Well, we move from ed policy, education policy, to ed policy. The brand new Packers team president, at least he will be next July, when he replaces Mark Murphy. Packers board of directors has just voted for policy, the team's chief operating officer and general counsel, to replace Murphy as chairman, president, and CEO in July 2025, when Murphy reaches the mandatory retirement age of 70. 53 is how old policy is. He joined the Packers in 2012, general counsel, worked his way up to chief operating officer. He's essentially been Murphy's number 2 since 2018. And according to the Journal Sentinel, has been responsible for the development of the Packers' Titletown district west of Lambeau Field. He also joins Murphy in representing the Packers at league meetings. He leads the organization's communications, marketing, and fan engagement, sales and business development, security, and development and hospitality departments. Yeah. Producer Dave says the Packers draft and develop CEOs as well. Yeah, they don't rely on free agency. They're not pulling somebody from Starbucks to come in and lead the Green Bay Packers. And this is the way to do it. Someone who's been intimately familiar with the Packers operations since he first joined the club in 2012. And the past decade or so has been one of the most consequential in the history of the Packers organization. Yes, they came right after their most recent Super Bowl win, but they were able to parlay that into the stock sale. They've actually had 2 stock sales since then to finance the expansion of Lambeau Field and then the development of that Titletown district. Because let's face it, as awesome as Lambeau Field was on game days and still is on game days, it's only, 8 regular season games. Now, technically, you can now have 9 regular season games per year, and then now it's, 1 to 2, because there are 3 preseason games instead of the traditional 4. You could have 1 or 2 preseason games, and then, of course, a couple of concerts scattered throughout the year. But, Lambeau Field is a revenue generator, at least it was, essentially only on game days. The Titletown District and the redevelopment of the Packers Hall of Fame, which if you haven't been, I was there maybe 5-6 years ago. It is one of the best team halls of fame, I dare say, in all of professional sports. It's just a really impressive thing. We did a Lambeau Field tour a couple of summers ago. I'd say probably summer of 2018, 2019, something like that. And it is just a testament to how well run. We were talking about how poorly run Milwaukee Public Schools is as an organization. It's a testament to how well run the Green Bay Packers are. And the Packers are, I believe, this century the 4th winningest franchise in the NFL. So this is transferring to on-the-field performance. And it's because they do just an incredible job managing the salary cap, being able to draft and develop talent, and also to maximize revenue capabilities to ensure that they are able to retain top talent, not just on the field, but also in the front office. Now, there was something that jumped out at me right away with this story. Can you guess what it was? There is a mandatory retirement age for Green Bay Packers presidents of 70 years old. No, I knew that. Dave says, you didn't know that? I thought it was widely known. It is widely known. So let's see. Mandatory retirement age for the president of the Green Bay Packers is 70. Mandatory retirement for bishops in the Catholic Church is 75. We've got a president of the United States who's 81 and is showing significant signs of cognitive decline. Joe Biden, and to be fair, Donald Trump too, would not be allowed to be the president of the Green Bay Packers or a bishop of the Catholic Church. If you have aged out of running a professional football franchise, maybe we should reconsider your fitness to run the United States of America. I've talked often about the gerontocracy that we have in America now, and that's government by the super old. You had Dianne Feinstein literally carried out of the United States Senate on a stretcher after she died in office at age 90? Chuck Schumer's in his 80s. Nancy Pelosi's in her 80s. Bernie Sanders is in his 80s. And while this seems like a problem that is more acutely felt on the political left, where all of the leading lights are exceedingly old, look no further than Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who's in his 80s and has frozen up on multiple occasions in front of TV cameras over the past year or so. Now, McConnell, at least, has had the good sense to say, I'm no longer going to serve as Senate Majority Leader. But if I'm someone in Kentucky, I'm saying, okay, Senator McConnell, thank you very much for your service, but do you really think you should continue to represent the good people of Kentucky? This is a problem that we've seen in Wisconsin as well. And I don't want to cast all of the blame on the baby boom generation and older, but it does seem as though there's a significant level of distrust, as we've seen in a couple of election cycles now here in Wisconsin. You had a 40-something gubernatorial candidate. Clayfish is 48, 47, somewhere in that range. I know you're never supposed to talk about a woman's age, but she was eminently qualified. But then who parachutes in? You had Tim Michaels, who is in the baby boom generation, or possibly the world's oldest Generation Xer. And the vote basically split. Younger voters, younger Republicans, all went for Clayfish. Older voters went for Michaels, who lost. You saw that same basic dichotomy just a couple of months later in the Supreme Court race, where you had Dan Kelly, who was running basically perpetually since he first lost his seat in April of 2020 to Jill Karofsky. But then you had a late parachute in from a Waukesha County Circuit circuit court judge who just happened to be the best known judge, thanks to her work on the Darrell Brooks trial. She too, upper 40s, early 50s. You had that same dichotomy. You also saw it, let's face it, with Trump in the presidential primary, where you had predominantly older voters, again, voting for somebody who is their age. This is why I've joked for the past several months now that the generation that said never trust anyone over 30 now says never vote for anyone under 70. We really do have a bit of an issue that the younger generation of political leaders is essentially being stunted. Now, I don't mind this on the left because the younger generation of political leaders is AOC and Jamal Bowman out of New York. Did you see the rally for Bowman where he's rapping along to the Wu-Tang Clan and jumping up and down? It was just embarrassing all the way around. Yeah, it was AOC had this wild-eyed rant. It was kind of remarkable how they got a tiny fraction of the crowd that Trump did, also in the Bronx. But I have no problem with the younger generation of liberal leaders sort of being held back. And I know why the left is doing this. Can you see, how do you think AOC would play in Dubuque? How do you think Rashida Tlaib will get over in Utah? It doesn't work, because they're avowed leftists, they're avowed socialists, and you've kind of got this last old guard. Why do you think the Democrat Party settled on Joe Biden in 2020? Because they knew if the wild-eyed socialist Bernie Sanders was on the ticket, Donald Trump would essentially get a pass for his personal behavior, because the American electorate would see it as a referendum of capitalism versus socialism. And as fearful as I am about how many people are at least socialist flirtatious. They're flirtatious with socialism. They have this idea that somehow Democrat socialism is going to be different than the socialism of Cuba or China or literally anywhere else. Capitalism would still win. On the right, however, we've seen a steadfast refusal, I think. I mean, Ron DeSantis, in any other era, and I know there were things that were unique about the Trump-DeSantis dynamic, in that Trump was essentially running as a quasi-incumbent. Many people believe that the election of 2020 was stolen from him, that even if it wasn't, that it was still Trump's time, it was still Trump's Republican Party. But in a bygone era, for example, in the 1970s, 1980s, there was a DeSantis-like figure who kept racking up wins in the state of California. His name was Ronald Reagan, and he immediately broke through the party's establishment to become the new face of it. This time we've got DeSantis again, 48, 49, somewhere in there, who was just blocked by an electorate that wanted to go again for someone of their own era. A lot has been written about the baby boom generation and its sort of reluctance to let go. And I think a lot of that is unfair, because the reality is, folks, the reason the baby boom generation, that they're staying in their jobs way longer, is A, nobody can afford to retire in Biden's economy, but B, people are living infinitely longer than they ever have before. I mean, if you take out accidental death, if you take out car accidents, homicides, suicides, and drug addiction, the American life expectancy is probably somewhere in the mid-80s. If you can avoid cancer, which is, obviously easier said than done, but if you live a relatively healthy lifestyle, there's no reason, if you don't get, if you don't just randomly develop cancer, there's no reason you can't live well into your 90s. So I understand that. And I understand that people tend to view more favorably those within their own basic generational range. And let's face it, I'm 42 years old. Would I want to vote for a 22-year-old to represent me in Congress? I might be a little apprehensive and say, well, this kid doesn't have enough gray hairs yet to really listen to. But the reality is that we do have this sort of generational divide, I think, in American politics that is leading us to an unsustainable path of having people who are just way too old and way too out of touch to be in leadership. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show. We'll be right back after this.
Conservative thought, not just talk. You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Each day, there's a sliver of time when you can almost breathe freely, and you feel better when you can. But you know that eventually that sliver of time closes, along with your nose. It puts a damper on your day every day. So you pop a pill or you take a spray to try to get that relief back. But it's always short-lived. And all the while, in your efforts to give yourself relief, you may be making your nasal breathing problems worse. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula, and a simple in-office procedure from Advent called balloon sinuplasty could be the fast and convenient answer to your breathing triangle problems. Advent has been a leader in this procedure, which can be hard to find elsewhere. It's simple, there's little to no downtime, and it really can be life-changing.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
You want to feel important.
You want to be part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things.
You want to feel like you belong.
We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it.
We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers.
We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more.
When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it.
We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors.
From the lakeshores of Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota.
The fertile fields of Indiana, Illinois, and Iowa to the wide open plains of North and South Dakota.
We are here for our hometowns.
And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services, and I'm so proud to be a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, a Christian, and an American. My wife Amy and I did our best to educate our children about our reasons for embracing traditional values. Recently, Amy and I became empty nesters, and now our young adults are in the real world with the American dream in their heads, their hearts, and soon it will be in their hands to share with others. God is good. Marriage and children are a blessing. Capitalism works, and America is grand. She is rich with beautiful places to explore. She's a melting pot of beautiful people. Diverse? Yes. But we are still blessed to have so much in common. Ignore the politicians and the media who sow seeds of hate. Let's embrace the wonders of life, liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness in America. Join me in discovering the wonders of nature and the wonders of America.
Well, the weather's warming up and summer's just around the corner. Everyone has a favorite outdoor activity: golf, bike riding, bird watching, long walks. Ask 100 people, you'll get 100 answers. But if everyday aches and pains are keeping you on the sidelines, I have one answer: Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a 100% drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients. It doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. Wherever you're hurting, back, neck, joints, or muscles, in 3 weeks or less, you'll start to feel the difference all day, every day. So whatever you like to do, swimming, pickleball, hanging out in the garden, Relief Factor can help you feel good again and let you enjoy all your favorite outdoor activities all summer long. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor.
Hello, I'm Joseph, owner of EWH University. At EWH, we help entrepreneurs grow their small business. If you're struggling to understand numbers, increase cash flow, or build and lead your team, EWH can help. Tune into WISN every Sunday at 11 a.m. to learn more. And visit EWHUniversity.com for info on boot camps, courses, and more. The first one's free. That's EWHUniversity.com.
Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer makes selling your home as easy as 1, 2, 3. Get a no-obligation cash offer in 24 hours. Make sure it works for you, then pick your closing date. We will handle literally everything else at no expense. Visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
Selling your business can be a stressful time for a business owner. When it's time to step away, our advisors at Kowal Investment Group, the retirement specialist, can help you sort through your options. Give us a call today at 262-522-4040 and listen Saturday at 10 a.m. to the Retirement Clinic.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
A lot of reaction on our adventknows.com talk and text line and in my email inbox about the generational divide, I think, that we have in American society. There is a whole lot of resentment, I think, amongst the Generation Xers and Boomers to their baby boom parents. For one emailer said they pulled up the ladder of every opportunity behind them. I'm not sure that's necessarily true, nor is it particularly fair, but I will blame the baby boom generation for one thing. And this is, frankly, unforgivable. The mainstreaming of socialism on college campuses in the late 1960s, early 1970s. Now, I know the baby boom generation has become one of the most loyal constituencies for the Republican Party, but man, some of you people, what were you thinking back in the 70s, you utopian idiots? I'm talking about the Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn crowd, the Assata Shakur, the people who lionized Assata Shakur, a cop killer. Beyond that, I think the baby boom generation was just fine. It's you know, I don't think there's a generational war, but it does seem, and I think the big reason for this, that the millennial generation and Generation X, you poor sons of guns, you've just been totally overlooked because you were relatively small compared to the two biggest generations in American history, the millennials and the boomers. You're sort of sandwiched in between us. I think the biggest reason is what's just changed society is the fact that people not only live much longer, but also expect to live much longer. So what that means now, imagine what you're going to do if you think there's a very real possibility that you're going to die at 45 of disease, right? In pretty much every generation prior to, I'll go the baby boomers. You would have had people dropping dead left and right around you because of disease. The silent generation, the greatest generation, silent generation saw the great influenza outbreak of 1917 when they were very young children. They saw a whole lot of disease and a whole lot of deaths from malnourishment and the like during the Great Depression. Same thing with greatest generation. Now, what happens to your outlook on life and what you can do for how long when you expect that you're probably going to get at minimum 75 years if you stay healthy, if you avoid drugs and excessive alcohol, if you don't smoke or, yes, vape. That can shorten your lifespan significantly if you take a cautious approach to life. I mean, random tragedy can occur. You can be the victim of a homicide. You can be the victim of a car crash. But we've just got a different philosophy. We've got a different idea about what our own life is like, and and not only are people living longer, they're living healthier longer. It's no longer that you turn 82 and all of a sudden you're just severely cognitively impaired and you should be in a nursing home. We only have, presidents of the United States who are about to turn 82 and should be in nursing homes. But most people, it varies on the person. Obviously, it's individual how well people are able to function. But because of that, you think we used to have people going to nursing homes in their 70s because they were so frail, they were, mentally declining. Now that doesn't happen. So people are staying in their houses. People are saying, hey, you know what? I can still work. I still want to have a purpose. So you're still having people who have been working for 50 years. So obviously they've reached the top levels of their respective companies, or they're the founder of whatever it is, but they're just staying. Look at Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett still goes to work every day. What is he, 96? Charlie Munger just passed away. He's 99 years old. He's going to work every single day. It's just it's a different world out there. And that said, I do believe we need cognitive tests, and I would not be opposed to a constitutional amendment barring people over the age of, say, 80 from serving in the federal government. But that's just me. We are out of time for today's show. Have no fear. We will reconvene 22 hours from now for the Tuesday edition of the Dan